Good afternoon, folks. My name is Tony Hatcher, and I'm a Toastmaster at Club 3285 Cape Breton Toastmasters here in Sydney, Nova Scotia. And I'm developing this, webinar, I guess, for the lack of a better word, because as most of you know, Toastmasters has sort of redesigned and redeveloped its educational program to be more fitting to today's sort of what's more important in today's society as it pertains to the internet and all that fun stuff. So most of the Toastmasters now, you actually have to go online to help supplement your Toastmasters experience. And I know that a few of you out there are still perhaps struggling a little bit with that, and I hope that this tutorial will help with that in some way or fashion. And it's going to go over a lot of things, so I apologize if you're just looking for one thing, but you can notice that in the description of this video tutorial, I show basically what I'm talking about in increments of time. So if you just want to figure out how to pick your path, go to that portion of the video. So I'm going to start off with actually logging in to Toastmasters. Now, if you're already logging into the online site, don't worry about this. If you've just become a Toastmaster and you've not logged in before, or if you've been a Toastmaster for a while but forgot your password, the great thing is the methodology of getting logged in again, or for the first time, is exactly the same. So we're going to open up the Google Chrome here, and I apologize, my internet is probably a little slow, but bear with me. And I'm sure that most of you know, if not all of you know, that it's www.toastmasters.org. Now, if you go down here, first off, obviously, you hit the login tab. It'll take you here. Now, obviously, mine's already in there. I log in here a lot. So, it actually remembers my password. But, again, if you've never logged in before, you're new to the club, or you've logged in before but you forgot your password, it's the exact same thing. Obviously, you wouldn't have a password here. So you type in your member ID, your email actually is what you want to type in here. And your email you type in here, it has to be the email that you gave your Toastmasters club, because that's what they're using. So if there's an issue, if you can't get, if there's really a problem that it's simply not working, perhaps talk to the club and ensure that you're both using the same email. So again, whether you've logged in before or whether it's your first time, type in your ID, your email address up here, and hit forgot password. What will happen is the Toastmasters will send you a link to your email that will give you, it'll send a link to your email that you will use to change your password. And when I say change your password, that could be that you're actually getting your very first password. It's the same methodology that you would use. So once you do that, you go to your email, you hit the link, and it might take a few minutes. If it doesn't show up, check your junk mail, because sometimes that's where stuff like this goes. Once it shows up, click the link, do what it tells you to do, pick your email, and then you can come back here and log in. If it doesn't work again, then just try it again. You're not going to hurt anything. And again, if it continually fails you, talk to your people at your local Toastmasters club. Perhaps there's a problem with which email they're using. So now I'm going to log in, because fortunately I remembered my password. And this is what you see when you log in. And this update privacy and consents, I mean, you can go through it if you want. I choose not to, because I just don't care that much. And I exit out. And I'm sure. So that's gone. Now, the one thing I will say about this site, and it's not a knock against Toastmasters, because there is a lot you can do. If you want to start a new club, for instance, you go there. If you want to shop for some nice banners or whatever, you go there. Obviously, events, magazines. There's so much here that it becomes almost too much, especially for a new member who's just sort of getting in the flow of it. So whether you're an executive member or whether you're just a normal trying to do your speeches and getting your path done kind of member, there's really only two important, and I shouldn't say that because Toastmasters will be all over me. There's two links you're going to use most. And the first link I'm going to discuss is a link you're going to use if you're an executive member. If you're not an executive member, you could probably skip through this. But as an executive member, Leadership Central is very important. You click onto that. All these things are important too, but the most important is Club Central. Now, if you go to Club Central, you can basically administer everything for your club here. I'm the treasurer for our club, so I have to add a membership. In order to do that, I click here, I type in all the information they asked for, including the email, as we discussed it already, and not sure why that's popping up, I apologize. And once you do that, you then have to submit payment for this new member, and you do that through here. You got to have a credit card. You'll figure out, whatever little steps you have to run through. But the one thing, if I knocked Toastmasters website before, I won't here. It's very simplistic, very easy to get through. Down here, if you're the VP of Education, then you put the education awards through this sort of vehicle. Down here, you want to print off the club roster, no problem. It'll print off the club roster, show who owes and who doesn't, all that fun stuff. There's just club demographics. There's just a ton of good, good information in these reports. But again, if you're not an executive member, I'm not 100% sure how much of this you will get. And not all executive members get all of this. So if you're an executive member and you go into your Club Central and you say, oh, wait a minute, I don't see add membership, don't flip out. Add membership and submit payments is likely only available to the president and the treasurer. Again, there's some things that probably aren't available to me that I'm not aware of. But again, this is really a very important part of the administration of the Toastmasters. But again, if you're not an executive member or you really don't care about this stuff, you just want to get your freaking projects done and become a better public speaker, then let's go back to that initial page, the start page. There's a second tab. And the second tab, probably the most important tab, and it's the Pathways tab. All right, so you just click on Pathways. This little drop down comes. And I'm not saying like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 choices here. I'm not saying they're not all important. I'm saying go to Basecamp is likely the most important. So let's go to Basecamp. And at Basecamp, this is where you choose your path. Isn't that great? That's right. You choose your path. Now, I want to be very simple when I say this, or very clear when I say this, because I don't like being simple. That's terrible. But I do want to be clear. There are two methods of choosing your path, and they're both easy. If you don't know how to get to it, it becomes problematic. So, you choose your path by going through a questionnaire, and it'll give you 3 paths that it thinks fits what you want. Or you can just pick your path. You don't have to go through the questions. You can just go pick it. Or you can go through, I guess there's a third way. You could go through all the questions, have it say, okay, we think these 3 paths are good for you, and then say, you know what, I don't like those 3 paths, thanks, but I'm going to take this one. Again, it's very simple, but it's not, it's kind of hard to get to if you don't know how to get to it. So choose your paths right here. Obviously, you want yourself. You can actually do it for another member. I don't recommend it. So continue to path selection. Very simple. Hit that. Bada boom, bada bang. Kind of ignore this stuff, okay? Because this is probably not something you have to concern yourself with. Your treasurer or whoever is in charge of telling you how much membership is will tell you how much you pay. So go to the bottom of this and you take your assessment. Now, here's the interesting thing. You go here and you select your language. Obviously, English is my preferred language, and I can start it. Okay, and it's very much and I'm not going to do it because I've already done it. And it's very much a Likert scale type of questionnaire. They'll give you a scenario and they'll say from 1 to 10, or where do you feel that you agree with this statement, completely unsure, that sort of Likert scale types of questions. And again, there's quite a few of them, maybe 25, 30 questions. And then you get to the end of it, and they'll give you all your paths that they think you should consider. Your number one path, what they figure is the best path for you, the number two path, what they think is the second best path for you, and the number three path, one they think is the third best. And you can pick one of those three, or you can opt to just say, you know what, I'm glad I went through the questionnaire and all that, but I don't like these three. I'm going to pick something else. Or you can completely skip the questionnaire altogether by hitting this little button. Skip assessment. And it takes you right to your recommended paths. And there's only, I'm not even sure how many paths there are. And I'm probably going to get yelled at for that. 6, 9, there's 10. I knew that. Anyway, you'll notice mine's already blocked out because I went through the process of the questionnaire, and it told me dynamic leadership was my best path for what I wanted to obtain. And then I kind of agreed with it, to be honest. But you don't have to. You can go here, you can read each and every one of these, what you're getting from it. Let's just look at motivational strategies. This path helps you build your skills as a powerful and effective communicator. You will work through projects that focus on how to build connections with others, understand the principles of motivation, and successfully lead small groups to accomplish tasks. The motivational strategies path culminates in a comprehensive team building project that brings all of your skills together, including public speaking. And it's not available in printed materials. I'm not sure any of these are. Anyway, if that sounds like something you want to be a motivator, choose that path. Click the button. Then you've picked your path. You've done probably the most complicated thing there is to do. So that's how you pick your path. Now I'm going to go back, because I like to go back to the front page as much as I can. All right. As I said, now you've already picked your path, so guess what? I'm going to hit pathways again, because again, we're working on our projects. I'm going to go to Basecamp again. Again, this here actually works too. I'm not sure why both of them are here, but let's go to Basecamp. It's just a better one to go to, in my opinion. And my opinion matters. Remember this? Choose your path. We've already done that. Now we're up to access my path through Basecamp. And you log in as a member. Now, if you're already logged into, and I'm not sure why this is here, to be honest with you, and maybe somebody out there in YouTube land can tell me. I've never had to log in as a member. I'll click the button because that's what I have to do to get there. But I've never ever had to log in. I'm already logged in, so I'm not sure why that's there. But it will take you to the base camp. Ooh, and this is great stuff too. This really is. Now again, all this stuff is great. It really is. If you want to evaluate it later. But if you're trying to get used to the bare essentials, the bare essentials. I guess essentials and necessities put together. I don't know. Anyway, if you look here, and I'm not sure why they're in this order, to be honest with you, because there is your path right there. There's my path. Your path will be at the same exact spot. I haven't launched these because I already know how to launch a project, how to evaluate, and all this fun stuff. So, I mean, I could go back and look at it eventually, but there's enough stuff to keep me preoccupied that I won't want to be doing that. So here's my path. And your path will be the second one here as well. And it's going to say launch for you because you haven't launched it yet. And it's really not much. As soon as you launch it, the next time you come back, it'll say open curriculum. So I'm going to open the curriculum. And there it is. There's dynamic leadership. Now, every one of these paths, every one of them have 5 levels. I'm a poorly little level 1. And that's the great thing, is that this is a relatively new structure. So when you're coming on board at this point, you're not really that far behind. You're not far behind at all, to be honest. Most people have barely got their first project in their first level done. And each level has, 4 or more projects within them. So it's going to take a while. A lot of people think, well, you're only getting one path. Well, you can do more paths, but it probably takes years to do a path. So I've already done my icebreaker. You see it's checked off here. I'm not going to go through the launch or anything like that. So my next one is evaluation and feedback. And it's in progress because I have started it. There's no due date and this blah, blah, blah. Hit launch. Be very careful with this, and it may just be my computer. But sometimes when I hit launch, this little box that's supposed to, that I'm pointing at right now, this little box here, sometimes doesn't come up. And it drives me bloody nuts. So you basically got this, and the only thing that'll come up is this box here. I'm like, what happened there? Did I mess up? Just click it again. It's not a big problem. But this time it did come up, and I'm going to make this box bigger. And this is your assignment. This is what's going to be staring you in the face when you open it up. Project checklist, you can download this. Actually, I'll just show you that now. And that's it. You can actually print this and it'll tell you what you got to do. For this project, I've got to, as you can see, 3 things. This project includes a 5 to 7 minute speech, incorporating feedback from your first speech into a second 5 to 7 minute speech, and serving as a speech evaluator. So in other words, in order for me to get through this project, I have to, number 1, do a 5 to 7 minute speech. Somebody's got to evaluate it. I've got to evaluate somebody else at some point, and then I've got to do a second speech that incorporates some of the criticisms that I received from the first speech. And this checklist essentially, tells you little things that you should be doing to prepare yourself for this project. It's important for you guys to understand, though, this may not be a project you do at all because you have a different path, or you may have the same path. The projects are going to be different. So understand that. Now we're going to get rid of that. And notice that I got rid of that and this stupid thing's back up. So don't get confused. This is really where you want to be. And what you're going to do is you're going to just you're going to continue to move through this, answering questions, and, and this is actually the menu for it. Introduction, your assignment. This is assess your skills before. And every time you do one of these projects, you've got to do a skills assessment, or you have to assess your skills before you actually do it, and then you're going to do it afterwards, and that's how you close it off. This is going to look at competencies. I don't want to go through all these because it may not be the same. And you can, like I said, you can go through this, or you can just keep it an arrow. It'll take you to these things. But if you want to look at your assignment, there's your assignment. This is view printing project and resources. You can print off all your stuff there that you need for your project. How to receive feedback, how to use feedback. This is just hints of how, because that's a part of this project, how to be an effective evaluator. That's part of the project. So it's going to give you some tips on how you got to go through all this when you're evaluating. Then you go to here, complete your assignment. Now that you have read through the project plan and prepare your speech or report, use this, blah, 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 blah. That's when you get to the end of this thing. And after that, review and complete your assignment, your evaluation. Assess your skills after. This is what closes off the project. Once you've done everything, and in my case, I've got to do the 5, as I said before, I've got to do the 5 or 7 minute speech. I've got to do an evaluation of somebody else, and I've got to take the evaluation of my 5 or 7 minute speech and develop another speech that sort of looks at the aspects of that first evaluation. Once I've done that, I assess my skills after the project. Boom, the project is closed off. And you're done. And what will happen then is you'll X this out. It won't work. You'll come back here. This will have a little check mark on it. And I'll be ready to come down here to hit activate again. And I'll be activating my third project. And once that's done, I get to look into here because this isn't even available yet. This isn't available until you actually get these 3 things done. And once that level is done, when you come in here, you'll be on level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. And I say years. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm not going to lie to you. But, it is what it is. Now, again, these are the most important aspects of this. I don't want to downplay all of the other stuff that's going on because you will learn that other stuff as you're going along. What I'm trying to do is to make sure that everybody can get to a certain point. And that certain point is, number one, get to the website. Number two, log in. Number three, know where they go if they have to be an or if they are an executive member. And number four, how to pick their path. And number five, how to operate within that path. It's not terribly difficult. The biggest problem I found that people have is that they simply don't know where to go. And again, it's not a knock against Toastmasters. It really isn't. I love Toastmasters more than I can say. But the website is it comes off sometimes as a bit of a scatter shot. And I found myself when I actually thought to develop this, one of the things I thought to myself was, there are still tabs on this main screen. If we can go back to the main screen. I hate going back to the main screen. .org. There are tabs that I've been in Toastmasters now for 10 years. You know what? Let's just do it this way. I've been in Toastmasters for 10 years. I haven't used, I'd say, 75% of this stuff. I really haven't. And that's not to say I won't someday. It's great. But the problem becomes, I think, in my opinion, when there are certain things you have to access all the time, and you simply can't find them. Again, there's two: Leadership Central, Club Central, if you're an executive member. That's not to say it's not interesting data if you're not, but if you're an executive member, you're going to spend a lot of time in Club Central. The second one, clearly, Pathways. And the biggest one for Pathways is not even the biggest one. The one you're going to always use is go to Basecamp. Take a look, though. Take the assessment is here as well. But you can take the assessment from here, too. And again, that's one of those things that makes this messed up. I like to have strict heuristic, part by part, step by step sort of plans so that you don't get lost in this thing. So go to Basecamp. You can find everything there, as I've already explained it. And again, I don't know everything there is to know. I really don't. I dare say I probably don't know 25%, or I might only know 25%. I don't know. But if there's anybody out there that's watching this that says, you know what, hey, listen, Tony, you kind of messed up there. That's not right. Listen, put it in the comments and I can fix up the video. I hope this helps, folks. And for now, I just used an Anybody notice that? A Toastmaster using It's terrible. I hope none of my mentors hear that. Anyway, my name is Tony Hatcher, the treasurer of Club 3285 Cape Breton Toastmasters in Sydney, Nova Scotia, and I'm signing off. Have a great day. Bye-bye.